Let me go to share my slides.
Yeah.
But before I start my sharing, I would say a few words about myself. I'm Cheryl Lee. I'm the co-founder of PharmaCynergy, which is based in the US, but doing business cross-border with China, representing different foreign companies in China for their product introduction, their collaborations, all kinds of things related to cross-border work collaboration. Prior to doing this, I was in the US. I spent half of my life in the US, half in China. I got my one PhD in the US, 0.9 PhD from Peking University, and more than 20 years work experience in the pharma industry in the US, but actually globally, and 8 years on the ground in China. Helped many companies to take care of their initial business dealings in China, successfully set up 3 joint ventures for the foreign companies in China. I was working, when I got the invitation to speak today, I was working in sharing with you my experiences and some of the tips I learned during my practices in here. But somebody got to speak about the macro level of the situation in China. And I was honored to be assigned to speak about the overview of Chinese industry. I usually don't speak at this level. So the information I shared today, the data was borrowed. So they are not my data, but they are official information. I can give you the source of the information after today's session, but I will give you my perspectives, my opinions. So let's get started on this. The reason for us to promote the cross-border collaborations with China is very obvious. China is one of the largest pharma markets on the earth now, so it cannot be ignored or not getting here. So question is how to get to China, what to bring to China, and how to collaborate. So that being said, I say China now, China pharma industry today is at a stage that is very favorable for foreign companies to come, especially the developed countries to come today. The reasons I listed a few in here. So let me bring it up. So China traditionally is a manufacturing focused pharma industry. In the past 10 years, especially in the past few years, they are more focused on innovation. This was driven by, number one, the policy changes, the reforms that we already know is happening in China in regulation and in the healthcare policies. Very importantly, the capital market reforms also stimulated stronger interest in pharma industry. That helped overall the pharma industry's booming in the past few years. And specifically, the policies I spoke about, number one is the regulatory requirements for product development and registration are more aligned with the international best practices and standards. And number two, on the market drug re-evaluation, we called BE re-evaluation in the past 5 years, has revolutionized the industry with some very interesting observations. Number one, the industry is now using the best practices in their daily product development. Number two, their requirements and standards are more on par with the international standards. And their medicines now today are safely usable in anywhere of the world if those products passed B re-evaluation. In some sense, the current practice and standards are exceeding some of the requirements and standards in the Western countries. And this aspect I was very glad to see because I participated in quite a few products development process in China. So I'm glad to report back to our Western friends. Today's China's pharma industry is really geared towards being one of the same in a sense in developing products and following the best practices in other parts of the world. And number three, drug bidding and tendering process is reformed. And this reform generated earth-shaking changes in the landscape of Chinese industry. People who are able to perform on par with the higher standards will be able to survive. And the bidding process also allowed the companies to sharpen their focus on cost, on product planning. So the random, not planned way of starting projects is not going to bring results to the companies. So in this sense, the government is helping the industry to refocus themselves, and the better is getting better. And the not so good ones, they're going to be eliminated by the process itself. The next one is national drug procurement process. Like I said, the bidding tendering process reformed together with national drug procurement process has brought the cost down for the healthcare system to bear. And this is a point for our overseas partners to remember. In the past, if you can successfully bring your product to China, you may enjoy the market for a long time at high price. But today, this is not the situation anymore. So the reform brings in, important changes to how we select product to China. And the new requirements for clinical studies brought more collaborations to the Chinese companies. And I see some of our today's participants, they are in the clinical trial arena. So it's a good opportunity to look into supporting the product development in China and for Chinese companies to go overseas from this lens. Stronger investment in basic research is happening, but as a systemic work, it may take a while to see the real results. Enhancing IP protection is happening, like our lawyer speaker just said. From the law perspective, is more comprehensive, and the punishment is going to be stronger if IP is invaded. And I just said capital market reforms, opening public offering, especially IPOs, to the small to medium companies in China for pharma is a great thing. We are seeing a lot of great investment fund coming to this sector. So those are all favorable changes. The next slide, I showed some of the regulatory policy changes. They are already very familiar to most of you, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. But they are very familiar to our Western partners. You're going to see in today's product development, the companies are purposely learning and practicing these new standards. And I will speak about the challenges we face today in China for pharmaceutical products commercialization as well as product development. And also I will speak about the opportunities I see for the foreign companies. The first challenge is still as a country, the available new and effective medication in certain disease areas are still very limited due to the fact before the reform started in 2015, there has been a long period of time. The regular pathway for introducing new products from overseas to China is very lengthy. As a result, a lot of companies like my old former employer Johnson & Johnson was not really spending a lot of effort to introduce new products to here. And the cycle time could be more than 10 years for a new product to get introduced to here. So that is generating, that leaves a gap for the Chinese people with choices of good medications. Even though the life standard is improving a great deal in China, a lot of areas you see in China is exceeding the average spending on goods, but they cannot buy good medication, even they have money for certain diseases. So that's the first challenge. I see that as an opportunity for us as well. The second challenge is the ability for the original and breakthrough innovation to be introduced to China, and the original ability to generate those breakthrough innovation is still limited, especially in the areas of translational sciences, clinical trials, the original design, the protocol setup. So it will take some time. I see a lot of investment in this area, a lot of good talents coming back from overseas to participate in those work, but still it's a systemic work and it takes time to establish those ability. So this space, China definitely will benefit from collaboration. Regulatory standards and drug application requirements are more aligned with the international standards, but we still need to refine certain areas to make it feasible, practical, and really scientific. So this is not there yet, but I see more than 80% is already there. Specific areas to watch out when you work in China for your product introduction or collaboration is around the balance, check and balance of how much information you provide at IND stage and how to conduct your clinical trials for China market. They could be pretty different than your experiences. You probably don't want to see that you already spent money, identified a partner, but your program cannot move because you perceive your IND filed already overseas can be just translated into Chinese and get into the IND stage, clinical phase in China. This is a watch out. But you know, this is also an opportunity for us if you work with professional service providers, work from our friends like Claire, Flores, and Mr. Jen. They have more insights. They can bring good professional teams to you to provide upfront consultation and preparation for you, so you don't run into those problems. International collaboration is strengthening in China, especially on the innovation side, but they need to go deeper. I see because of the language barrier, not a lot of Chinese pharma companies can benefit from having a foreign partner. So I see this as an opportunity as well. So if you work with a professional team who can be the bridge to make sure your collaboration is smooth and your time and money is well spent, I think it's worth it. I put together a lot of data because not knowing who would be here. So I put a lot of things in here, but I think I covered the ground when I look at the 9 teams being represented here. I see you do cover clinical trials, service providers, research, BioPharma companies. So I will quickly reveal what I think is relevant for you. Highlight also is a high authority. They so let's see, the export of Chinese products to overseas, we already know China export a lot of pharma products, including APIs and pharmaceutical finished products to everywhere in the world. If you look at the data, actually Europe uses a lot of China's APIs. You rank number 2 in the regions for using Chinese APIs. If in your work you do use the APIs from China, I believe again you will benefit from having some good professional teams on your side to help you to understand who are good API partners. And we have a lot of service providers here to help you to do that. And for pharmaceutical products, the finished products, because you will go through the registration process in your country, I think you will see, you will do your due diligence and you will see the in and outs by yourself. From the import perspective, China imports a lot of pharmaceutical products to China, right? Because there is a gap for new and improved medicines in China for certain disease areas. So this area is a collaboration opportunity for people who have already mature products. I call mature products, they mean they already approved in one of the countries or regions. You can see those information as well. And China does import a lot of finished products from European countries as well. Let me go to the status of Chinese companies filing of ANDA and DMFs overseas. The reason I put those information here is because over the last 5 years, China going through the re-evaluation of their on-the-market medicine process, they are already technically strong to play on stage. So the filing of DMFs and also filing of ANDAs, the numbers you can see, they increased dramatically.
I'm sorry, Dr. Lee, to interrupt, but we are starting to run out of time. Maybe because I see in your PowerPoint you're sharing many slides with some graphs. Maybe we can share these slides
yes,
after.
I will go quicker.
If,
okay, got you.
Otherwise, we will have not so much time for questions at the end.
I got you. Okay, yeah, so I would. Yes, I will just go to the clinical trials conducted by the Chinese companies overseas. You can see is a great number of companies doing clinical trials overseas. And the deals done in the past few years by big pharma in China and also biotech companies pumped with the capital investment in those teams. They're doing a lot of deals, and deal sizes are increasing, especially in biopharmaceutical sector, very active deal making. And they prefer in the past cancer medications and cancer-related areas, but recently because the play field is too crowded, so people are starting to differentiate in putting their money. So the next area, because of the COVID, infectious disease area and vaccine area is a hot investment area. And CNS, cardiovascular, metabolic, those are still hot areas. And China started to license out their innovative products, especially the areas they put a lot of money in the past few years in cancer, metabolic disease, and also infectious disease. And good lead products are being out-licensed. So this could be an area for you reverse collaborating with China as well. To summarize, in my 20 plus years working in the US, especially my last job in J&J, working with in the external innovation, external supply space, I visited 58 countries due to work. I spent quite a lot of time in Europe, and I used to be responsible for a CTM manufacturing site in Deventer, Holland. So that's why I'm so keen in connecting with you guys, and that refresh my memory, and hope one day I go back to work with you guys in Holland. But to summarize, I see cross-border collaboration is expanding, especially people have high interest in collaborating with European countries. And due to the relationship with the key innovator in the world, we see the interest is migrating to other areas. Collaborations range from initial buying of APIs and finished products to now on clinical studies and co-developed products. The process for conducting cross-border collaboration is more mature than before. But I still say what I said at the beginning, working with established reputable firms, professional people will help you to save money and time. So with that, I welcome any questions. I hope I can drill down to answer some of the practical questions. And this topic of overview of pharma industry is not what I usually speak, but hopefully I gave you a flavor of my perspectives on what the China pharma industry is. Okay, with that, thank you very much.
Dr. Lee, thank you so much.